Hello, my name is Caleb. Today I have decided to do something that I never thought I was gonna do because your boy is not self-destructive, you know what I'm saying. By the title of this video, you can probably assume what this is gonna be. I'm gonna be reading another book by my least favorite author. If you've been here for a while or you've watched a few of my videos, I'm sure it's maybe come off that my least favorite author and least favorite book is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. When I had first read that book last December, I said, even in my thread of Snapchats and wherever else I feel like, I said, are all of her books like this? All the things I pointed out with November 9 in my issues are factual. I don't like how he manipulated her here and there, how he burned down her house, committed crimes, did all these messed up things. So I could literally cite many sources with my issues and the things I don't like about that book. Like, the plot is fine. Like, I wouldn't mind the plot if it wasn't so abusive and so messed up. But because of those things, I didn't like the book. So that's factual. So yeah, yeet. So I did say that I was thinking about wanting to reread one of her books again. But I was only hesitant because I didn't want to give Colleen Hoover a check in the mail because I was gonna splurge and buy another book by her. Like, I just feel like that would be the most wishy-washy thing ever. Like, oh, I hate this author and I don't like this book and it's really messed up and promotes really bad things. How about we give her another $15? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person that just goes out to hate something just because I want to hate it. And so I feel like I need to be 100% transparent with this video before we go to the library and get the book. I'm going to be going to my local library. I did check online. They have like all of her books, so yeet! And to be completely transparent, because I feel like I do need to say this, just because I feel like this might get the wrong impression from some people watching this, I am not gonna go into this situation with hatred in my mind. Yes, I did not like November 9. I do not like the things that Colleen Hoover has written in her books, but for all I know, which she did apologize, and she did say, like, I'm changing some scenes, but, like, that was not even my issues at all. But for all I know, like, that could have just been my impression, maybe just the way she wrote those characters or that book. So like, I'm genuinely interested because people do still love her books. Her books all have like a 4.5-ish on Goodreads, which is like really good. So that means most people gave it a 4 or 5 stars. So I'm not going into this situation with in mind being like, I will hate this book and I'm gonna point out every single flaw and hate everything. I don't want to do that at all because people like these books. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. Maybe it is the plot line that's very addictive. Like, I can say that as somebody who gave November 9 a 1 star on Goodreads. The writing's very quick and easy to read and it's not so difficult to get into. But of course I did give it a 1 star because it was really messed up. Take out the abuse, it would have been a fine book. So I'm gonna like vlog my experience of me reading it and then do a little review once I finish it and we can chat about how I feel about this book in comparison and things like that. So I think it's time for us to go to the library. I'm really excited, and by excited I mean I kind of want to die, but it's okay. Everything's good. Everything is really good. Oh, heck yeah. We about to do some self-destructive work today, let me just say it. So we go into the library to get lit. And by lit, I mean I'm probably gonna suffer, but I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, so. Fun fact is the local KFC burned down. And I just think it's like kind of funny because like I wanted to go through like when it was burned down and be like, can I get the fiery grilled nuggets? But also I just feel like if I worked there I'd be like, really, Becky? You burned down my whole establishment, Becky. Why are we all going so slow? Is it like National Go like 20 under the speed limit day? Like what the frick? Sometimes I forget that when I'm driving, people can see me. So when I'm like, in your car, the radio, like they know. His car says safety is my goal and we're going like 30. The speed limit is like 50, dude. Wait, there's a Dunkin' Donuts down here? Where am I? Did they just build that? That has to be new. I've like barely ever driven down these roads, so like I don't know where I am. We just gonna hope for the best. This guy in front of me, he's my man. He is going so quick. Maybe a little too quick. What is the speed limit? Oh, the speed limit is 45. Why is everybody going like 80 then? Okay, we're at the library. Also, this is like a pretty like rough area, so if I get stabbed while trying to get this dumb book that I don't like actually want, like that would just be a tale. Tale of all the tales. Also, the parking here is really bad, so we're just gonna really try to get into this spot. Wait a minute. Am I in this parking spot? We're just gonna go with it. Alright, so we have made it to the library, and I'm just gonna say this now. I am quite timid when it comes to vlogging in public, so we probably ain't gonna do very much filming. And I always forget they have to be like dead quiet in a library, so I don't think that I'm gonna be able to point out much without like being asked to like shut the frick up. So we're gonna go and be self-destructive. Bye, see you in there. So, guess who just went to the library and got himself a new Colleen Hoover book? It's me. I decided to get Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and I just realized that, like, I matched the book. Oh, great, love it. And heard a lot about this one, and I'm pretty sure it was becoming a movie. That might have gotten canceled, I don't know. But here it is, so we're gonna drive home, and we're gonna start reading it, so... Retweet if you're inspired. Okay, gotta go. It's time for me to start reading it. It's fine. Page 1, things seem to be going good so far, so I'm feeling pretty confident, but we got like 300 more pages, so I don't know. There's some like drunk guy that like low-key attacked her or something, and like it's gonna be the love interest. I just know it because like, I just know it. You're gonna fall in love with me, Rachel. He met her like literally 3 minutes ago. Like literally like they just met, and he's already like, you're gonna fall in love with me, and if you don't like me, who cares, because I own you, and you're probably really insecure, and I'm just gonna take advantage of that. We love a relationship where he just like owns her, am I right? This is already starting out in a really bad way. Like, I was really trying to go into this with like optimism and like just assume it was gonna be good, but this random guy just took a picture of this girl, randomly like snuck a picture of her and sent it to his friends, and he's like, I want her to have all of my babies. I just love when we do this. I love when they just care about what she looks like. She's already talking about how, like, she's ugly. She's like, I just have brown hair and brown eyes, so I'm ugly. I feel like she's gonna say she's ugly and she's gonna have some insecurity, and then some random drunk guy's gonna be like, but you're pretty, and she's gonna be like, you're right, take advantage of me, but, like, we're just gonna hope for the best. We're just gonna hope for the best. Also, I feel like I need to say this, but like, I'm probably gonna be spoiling while I'm doing this, but like, I really don't think you should care because, let's be real, I don't really think you should care. But we're at this part, and this is like a 6 years ago part, so I'm like just waiting for him to kill somebody. He's not gonna get in trouble for it. Not gonna go to jail for a crime. It's okay. He's good looking, so it's okay, right? Heck yeah, they're step siblings. I just love a good incest plotline. I'm like crying laughing. This is like, she's like getting juice in his apartment or whatever, and he's like, I don't care if you drink my juice, Tate. And then she says, oh wow, that was a sexy sentence. See, I've said that November 9 has become like a joke to me, but like I'm reading this, and instead of being infuriated when bad things happen, I'm like just dying laughing. Like, what is this? Oh my gosh, he has the V. What is that? Now he's like officially dating his stepsister. We love an incest plotline. Can I get a hoya? They have known each other for about 3 days, and she's kissing him. They're kissing. They're kissing, and we're on page 70, and they're kissing, and we're on page 70, and they're kissing on page 70, so. This book literally just said that asexuality doesn't exist. Here's a quote. Everybody wants love, or at least sex. It's human nature. Guess what? If you asexual, you ain't a person. Colleen Hoover just said it, so... If that's not problematic, I don't know what is. This book has just, like, slowly turned into, like, something so dumb. She's like, okay, say the word ox for me. And he's like, what the frick? And then she's like, say the word ox. And then he's like, ox. And she's like, that's my new favorite word because you just said it. Like, what? Is that, like, supposed to be cute or romantic? Like, I, like, legitimately don't understand. Like, what? I smile. I love the word ox. It's my new favorite word. You're so weird, he says. Like, is that dialogue that people think is cute? I can't even take it seriously. Like, I'm laughing so hard. I don't know. For being a girl that's all about her job, she's gone to work, like, once, and I'm on, like, page 150, so. But just as an overall update, like, I'm just, like, not having fun. I can already see the stumble downhill. With November 9, I had this weird hope where I was like, okay, the next November where they meet up, like, it's gonna be better, and she's gonna, like, point out all these issues from when they were younger, and they just never did. It was just got more toxic, and I can already see this decline, and I'm really annoyed, so that's how that's going. What an experience. I feel like I do have to go into this situation with a very, very clear explanation as to what happened because I can already see people taking it the wrong way. I did say this at the beginning of the video, but I just want to say it again. I did not go into this experience with the sole intention of ripping this book to shreds and hating it. I completely and genuinely wanted to go into this experience with open eyes and give her another chance because the second I read November 9, I said, you know, I don't know if I'd read another one of her books. I just feel like they're all gonna be like this and really messed up and I really don't want to support that. All the comments I got saying, okay, but this one's different, like you just had a bad experience with this one, like I agree November 9 was messed up, but this particular book is better and it's completely different than November 9, you're gonna love it. And one of the books that people recommended the most was Ugly Love. A lot of people slid up on Twitter or on YouTube comments and said, okay, but Ugly Love was so cute, the relationship is completely different. My entire experience of reading this book can be summed up exactly like this. The first 5 pages, I had so much hope. It seemed like it was gonna be fine. I wasn't rolling my eyes. I was like really trying. And then, like the second that love interest guy got introduced, I was so over it. Although I will say that November 9 is farther down on the list of hatred than Ugly Love. This book was still pretty terrible and is still one of my least favorite books ever. The place where this book went wrong for me was basically the fact that there was zero plot at all. Also because of the like abuse and stuff, which like we'll get to, but there was zero plot. Nothing happened. The only things that happened in the flashback scenes, which I didn't really care about to begin with. This book wasn't even about the main character, Tate. It was all about this random other guy who was really drunk one day and like low-key attacked her in the hallway. It's all about him. It's all about his development and how he's gonna use this girl to get over this other girl and he's gonna manipulate her throughout all of this and then he's just gonna move on with that, and if you break these rules that I'm setting, it's very 50 Shades of Grey, but like it's seen as like an actual romance and not like a BDSM type of thing, which makes me sick. The books are sexist, okay? And I've marked all the things that I think were wrong with this book, which we're about to go through in just a minute. It has a very constricted mindset of like, a girl is just supposed to follow what the husband says. And I mean, that's true to an extent, but relationships should be built on both building each other up and both being responsible for what you two do as a couple, not just, oh, well, he said this, so looks like I have to do it. And then Tate would try to like tell her feelings or try to advance a relationship with the main dude character, and he would just shoot her down and yell at her and be like, you're breaking our rules, like we're done. Especially for a book that's targeted towards younger readers and towards young girls who are probably gonna pick this up and be like, oh, I'm gonna have to date a guy and he's gonna say this and do this to me, but it's okay because Colleen Hoover in her dumb little book said that that's okay, and that's what romance is. The main character, Miles, has been through a lot of crap. We find out that he fell in love with his stepsister or whatever, and then she got pregnant, and then once the baby was born, they were like driving home from the hospital or whatever, and they got in a car crash, and he saved the girl and not the baby, and the baby died. I mean, of course that was pretty messed up, and like that wasn't as bad as November 9 where I was like, that's a crime, are you kidding me? Like that was one where I understood the situation. I'm not gonna even focus on that, like I don't really care that much. Like, we find out that that was where his problem was, and then she broke up with him, and she couldn't forgive him, so she kind of went back and just left him or whatever. 6 years later, he's still not over it. I mean, I get it. If my son died and I was kind of responsible for it, I would never be able to forgive myself either. For this other girl to come around, and for him to use her for his own character development, and then, I did trample all over you and walk all over you, and like, really never respected your opinion, but it's okay, because like, I'm developed now, so now we can be together. And all the things I did before don't really matter, right? That makes sense, right? Another thing, and this is one of the main things that made me furious, was the rules that Miles set for Tate. One of the rules, I don't even remember what the other ones were, but the one in particular that made my blood boil, that made me put down this book and just like need to think, was the fact that he said, you're not allowed to ask about my past, and if you do, basically we're done and you're breaking the rules and I'm gonna be mad at you. I don't understand, like I know that their relationship wasn't like an actual actual relationship. They're just kind of like together but not like together, you know? And it was very sexist as well. The whole idea of like, you're not allowed to ask about my life, and I know that you like me and I like you, but you're not allowed to ask about me. I've been through bad things, and if you do ask about anything from my past, you're not entitled to that, so I'm gonna yell at you and we're gonna break up. You're not entitled to that. You don't deserve to know. And it's very messed up and sexist if you actually think about it. That's not a normal situation. That's not a thing for a relationship. I don't know, and it could have been done, like, I've been through a lot and I'm just not ready to open up about that stuff yet, and like I would have understood that, but for him to literally be like, don't ask about my past at all. There was like a scene or whatever, and like literally they're talking about like pilot school or how he met her brother or whatever, which like I pictured as Corbin Blue from Jump In, and she was like, oh no, that's his past, I'm not allowed to ask about that. Oh no, he's gonna get mad at me. Like, that is so messed up for so many reasons, and if you think that's okay, let's continue. Right at the beginning of the book, there's this scene where he met his other random girl from like 6 years ago, and he's texting some random dude, and he's like, yo, send me pictures of her. That was on page 18, so I was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna focus on this, but like, as the story develops, I think I need to focus on this, because this is sexist. And then on the very next page, he like sneakily takes the pictures of her, and he's like, I want her to have all of my babies, she's so hot. That's not cute. That is not cute. So then, on page 70, they kiss. You know, like, it's been 70 pages, but I wouldn't even say it's been 70 pages because we do flashbacks every chapter, so I'd say we probably spend like 35 pages together and we're already kissing in the bathroom. But then again, as soon as they have this moment together of finally sharing their feelings after a brutal hour of knowing each other, he says, I shouldn't have done that, bye. And she's like, oh, like, I don't mind, like, I really like you. And he's like, bye. What? But there is this specific scene. This random guy is invited to their dinner. I don't even remember how he got invited. Like, they're sitting there, and then randomly they're like, oh, are you gay or whatever, to this random dude, Miles. And they're all like dying laughing. Like, I can't believe he would think that. Like, every paragraph, they're like, everybody's just dying laughing over the fact that we thought he was gay. Like, that wasn't even humorous. There was no joke. And they're basically treating homosexuality like a disease, and it kind of makes me sick. I'm gonna pull up a paragraph from this book, and I'm just gonna read it out loud, and I want you, as somebody who maybe has read this book or maybe not, I want you to decide if this is a cute romance that we should let high schoolers basically read and like think is okay. You don't like relationships or love, but you're a guy. Guys have needs, because we just love stereotypes. You don't want to be attracted to me, but you are. You want to do the nasty with me, but you don't want to date me. You also don't want to love me. And also, you don't want me to love you. That's like a literal passage from this book. Like, oh yeah, you think I'm hot and you want to do the nasty, but you don't want a relationship, you don't want me to like you, you just want this to be all about that. And that was it. And she was like, okay, yeah, sure, you don't like me, I really like you, but you said I'm not allowed to, so of course, like, we'll follow your rules, who cares what I feel, like, who cares about anything, we're just gonna follow what you say blindly. And then there's this literal line in the book where it says, he wants me for sex. Like, that was the line. Like, I'm like assuming that like 14, 15, 16-year-olds have read this and they're like, aww, nice relationship, cute. Something that made me like die laughing is the fact that like in the flashback they're like, okay, so when our parents go out of town and like we're step siblings but like we're in love, we play house together. Throwback to 2004 when we were all playing house. Like, these kids, they still playing it, you know, like they are in love but they're playing house, you know, like I'll be the dad, you be the mom, and we in love, and this is gonna be our house. Oh, we love it. She cooks for me and I just kind of touch her and follow her around. Like, that was literally what it said. She cooks for me. Like, that was in the book. It said she cooks for me and I just sit there. Like, it literally said that. Like, stereotypes who, am I right? Something that also really bothered me with this book is the fact that the main character doesn't have a backbone, which we talked about. But she always said, whenever she's gonna see Miles or do anything with Miles, she always says, if this is on his agenda, we'll do it. Like, it's all up to him. You know, who cares what I think? I'm just some stupid girl who has no feelings and not allowed to even care about him because he said so. So yeah, it's up to him, you know, his agenda. Who cares? Because he's the guy and I'm just his girl that he doesn't want a relationship, and I'm not allowed to ask him about his life or do anything with him at all, so. There's literally one scene, okay, and I like skipped over this basically, but I got to the point where there was like so many nasty scenes where I was just skipping over them. I just kind of skimmed them to kind of get an idea of like if it was like a toxic consensual thing or not. And there's literally one time where they're doing the nasty and she says, "I scream in pain." Is that cute? Also, there's a scene where like after they do the nasty, she's literally crying and then he like runs away. And it was kind of rapey to me, but I just gotta say is that the humor in these books is completely brutal. Like there's some random old man that's just like randomly always there, just like there all the time. I don't even know where he's coming from, where he is, but he's just like always there. And here's like an actual joke from this old man that like is passed off as humor, okay? Let me read this for you and see if you laugh and think this is funny, like the main character thinks is hilarious. Just like the fact that they thought he was gay was like the funniest thing ever, like the funniest thing. Oh my god. Here's the joke. "Knock knock," he says. I didn't expect his favorite joke to be a knock knock joke, but I play along. "Who's there?" "Interrupting cow," he says. "Interrupt." "Moo," he yells loudly, cutting me off. I stare at him. And then I laugh. I laugh harder than I've ever laughed in a whole long time. That was something that was in the book. There is one scene, which was basically like the entire Colleen Hoover book summed up for me, where I was like so proud for one moment, and then like it was completely like a blow in the face, being like, what did you think was gonna happen? The main character like goes off on the one guy, and whose name I keep forgetting, it's Miles, right? She like goes off on him. I'll read a passage for you. "You aren't at all entitled to have an opinion about what goes on in my life. You're a jerk and you have serious issues. I don't want to be a part of them anymore." Which I was so proud. I was like, I'm about to mark this whole review is gonna change. Like, you're getting near the end too. And so I was like so excited for this. And then in the next paragraph saying, "You're not entitled to me, like you don't own me," basically, the next line says, "I'm lying." Basically saying, you are entitled to me, I do want you, and I do want to be one of your big issues in your life. What? She's like in the elevator for one scene with that random old man who just like is there all the time. And he's there and she's like, "Yo, like why do you think he never wants to experience love again?" And he was like, "Yo, like it's so broken. Like he must be so broken. So it's okay that he like did all this messed up stuff to you because he's just like really sad." Like, and it's always brought up like, oh, he's just manipulating you and he's just like using you because he's just been through a lot and he's just not allowed to feel love. Which gets exhausting after about 50 pages because it's like, okay, like there can be character development, obviously, like I want that for him to like feel better about himself. For him to throw somebody else into it and basically manipulate that person until he's okay. Then there's this scene where like they have their baby, right? Like they have their baby, okay? And literally like one of the first things she said, "What if it turns out to be gay? Would that bother you?" In like the same like thread of dialogue, there's literally this line where it says, "What if he commits an awful, heinous, heartless crime and gets sent to prison?" And I'm like, oh my gosh, everything makes sense to me now. This book is the prequel to November 9. Wait, no, the baby died, but he committed a heinous crime in November 9. He burned down someone's house. That's illegal. He should be in jail. Colleen Hoover is a genius. Just kidding, she can choke. Also, there's this scene where like she hasn't seen him in a while and she says, "Did you miss me, Miles?" Like when she sees him again. This is where we are in the book, okay? Like I'm expecting there to be some sort of like development to a relationship besides just the fact that like he's manipulating her and like yelling at her all the time. The thing he says, okay? The thing he says that is passed off as a romantic comment that people are reading and saying, "Oh, this is a romance book," is, "We don't say things like that, Tate. Miles, it's a common phrase. It doesn't mean commitment. It doesn't even mean love. Friends say it to friends. I missed you, but we were never friends, and I don't want to break your hope, but we're not friends." Like he literally said, "We're not friends. I don't care about you. I only want to do the nasty with you." And that is supposed to be a romance book with about 50 pages left in the book. Next. So after this big douchey thing he says, he starts to cry, and she's like, "Wow, this is so heartwarming. I love him." What? Like you're telling me that after all of this, after he basically screamed at you and did all this messed up stuff to you, and you finally like got the nerve to say something, but then in like the next line you're like, "I'm lying, I need him." You're telling me that this is where we go from that? That's where we go? I'm gonna read a single line for you. It's after the baby's born. This is a line that many people have read. Many people still gave the book 5 stars after this. And this isn't like some sort of heinous thing like I was just saying earlier. This is like passed off as humor, okay? This is horrendous. "We both laugh at our son's big balls." That's a line in the book. The main guy keeps calling her Rachel, which just continues to put on the fact that like this is just a relationship solely so he can get over her, and like he's basically using this poor girl with no backbone just so he can like develop himself as a character. Like he literally said her name. Like he literally called her Rachel several times. And there's like less than 30 pages left of the book. So there is no character development. Like none. Also, there's this scene where like they're doing the nasty and they're both like sobbing. And like that was passed off as like cute and not like rapey at all, so. We're literally in the last like 2 pages of the book at this point, so like there's been barely any development. He just screamed at her. They both had this big fight, right? Literally 30 pages ago he said there is no relationship between us. There will never be a relationship. I don't even see you as a friend. I just want to use you so I can get over this. He said that, okay? There is no like up to your interpretation. He said that. Just a few pages later, less than 20 pages later, he says, "Will you marry me?" And she says yes. I don't know, man. I just really don't know. And that was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Why does this book have a 4.3 on Goodreads, which means a majority of people gave this a 4 stars or 5 stars. It's above a 4-star rating. So that means more people gave it a 5 star than like anything else. And you're entitled to that. You're allowed to read and recommend whatever you would like, okay? I'm not the judge of what you deem as an okay thing, which we'll get into in just about a minute. I still have a little bit more to say. I gave this a 1 star, and I don't recommend reading any of her books, which again, I'll get into in a minute because I do feel like I need to say this because of the whole experience I had when I read November 9. Just so I'm like 100% clear with everybody that's watching this video, 99.999% of the things that I have pointed out with this book and November 9 is factual. Whether or not you deem that okay, the things that go on in this book, if you think that it was consensual and you think whatever, it wasn't manipulated, good for you. Okay? That's your opinion. Okay? That's an opinion. But all the things I've pointed out have been factual. There is nothing subject to opinion when it comes to the things wrong with this book. I can point out scenes, and I just did point out scenes, that had messed up things. I walked through them, and I explained them, and that is factual. But a fact is a fact through and through, so you can't tell me that the facts I've pulled out of this book were incorrect, because that is factual, and there is nothing to go with it. I can combat everything you try to throw at me with many lines of dialogue that are proving what I've said in this video. Also, I would like to talk about the whole, it's fiction. Why does it even matter if it's an abusive relationship, right? It's like, it's fiction. The media influences very, very much. So let's say that some 14-year-old girl walks into the young adult romance section, because this is where that book was, and they just pick it off the shelf and are like, ooh, this looks good. It says it's a love story. It's by Colleen Hoover. It has great reviews. Let's pick this up. And they read this story about this girl who is trampled on by some guy who's in desperate need of some character development. His opinion gets thrown out the window every time she tries to say something to him. And she reads that and is like, wow, 5 stars, what a good romance. And saying that these things are okay and saying that whatever happened in this book is okay is not okay. I'm not saying that abuse and manipulation and things aren't allowed to be in books, but I feel like if you are to put them in books, you have to make it very, very explicit that what is in that book is abuse and that it is very, very wrong. This book could have been exactly the same way it was, written with the exact same dialogue, but in the epilogue been like, wow, he really used me and that's so wrong and I should strive for something more, and I would have given it a 5 stars. Of course, there was like 0 plot in this book, so I'd probably give it like a 3 or 4 stars anyway. But that would give me so much more respect, because she gets abused and manipulated all this time, and then right at the end he's like, marry me and let's have babies. It almost says, okay, although he did do all this terrible stuff to you, but then like 20 pages later he said he was sorry, so it's okay, right? If this was in like a domestic violence section, I would be like, heck yeah, let's do it. But it's in the romance, next to all these other books that are targeted towards teens, and that is wrong, and it's nasty. And also the fact that this has a 4.3 on Goodreads is like kind of sickening, so... Alright, to wrap this up, I just have to say 2 quick things. The first of which is, I just don't want you to go into the comments and be like, okay, but maybe Someday is good, Slammed is really good. When I read November 9, everybody commented on that video saying Ugly Love is really good. That's her best one. And it was really, really bad. It was in the same exact vein. And maybe you can tell me, oh, you just picked up her worst 2 books. Oh man, that's unfortunate. Everybody told me that this one was good too. Everyone told me November 9 was her best one. How can I believe you How can I respect that after I've read these two and they've been the same of manipulative and abusive and just so wrong? I just don't want you to waste your time and be like, okay, but this one's really good, because I will not be reading another Colleen Hoover book. I don't even want to put Colleen Hoover's name on any of my videos ever again. I'm just so sick of it. I am so sick of it. Like I said with November 9, that like it became a joke to me as time went by because people like knew what I was talking about. This book just like reaffirmed all the things that has made me more mad. Then again, with the two books that I've read by her, everybody said they were great. So I don't know if I can fully like trust your opinion with that, and I don't really want to waste my time either. Another thing that I really need to say, whenever I talk about Colleen Hoover, I always get these comments and I always get these messages saying, hey, I just bought this book by Colleen Hoover because of you. I can't wait to hate it with you. Like, I'm not gonna tell you what you are and are not allowed to buy, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like, you're not allowed to buy this book, you're not allowed to form your own opinion, which you are allowed to form your own opinion, but not your own facts, like I said earlier. Please don't watch this video and think, okay, I need to buy Ugly Love now and just hate it with Caleb, you know? Like, how funny would that be? Like, I want to know everything he's talking about and make fun of it together. Listen, if I hated some random other book that wasn't problematic as ever, I would be like, okay, great, like, do it. Although I didn't like the book, like, go for it. But because this book is as problematic as it is, and still people give it 5 stars and don't even say it's problematic, they say it's a 5-star and one of their favorite contemporaries ever, I don't really think you should be giving your money to that. The publisher is gonna see all these people buying this book, and they're not really caring about your review, you know? Although it does have a 4.3 stars on Goodreads, so who even cares? They're not looking at reviews, they're like, oh wow, November 9 and Ugly Love are selling so much right now. We gotta publish more of this. Yo, Colleen Hoover, can you please write another book just like this? And then there will be more books like this, so there will be more exposure to relationships like this to young people, and that is so wrong. If you desperately want to read a book about some girl getting manipulated and abused, go to the library. Don't give Colleen Hoover a check in the mail. Because there are so many issues, buying the book is like a really shady thing, and I don't want you to go out and buy the book just because I don't like it, you know? I think that's gonna be it for this video. I am sweating like crazy. I know that I got like very mad, but people always ask me to make rant videos, which like I just like don't want to do, but here you go. Okay, I will never read another Colleen Hoover book ever. Like, I'm just so sick of it. Like, I'm like feel like physically like ill because of it. I'm done. Okay, 0 stars if I could. Like, I would give it like, I want to choke out of 10 if I could. So if you want to see another video like this without Colleen Hoover, just like giving another person a second chance, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one next Tuesday, because that's something I have to start saying at the end of my videos, right? Thanks for watching. I love you guys so much. Goodbye. In the words of my boy Logic, I don't wanna be alive.